La 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 Adam's little vlog.
Tally ho, everybody! This is a heap of games. I'm speaking, and I'm going to do my review of episode 4 of not Banter Wars, wrong series, Robot Wars 2016. Now you'll have to excuse me if my nose sounds a bit blocked up, because it is. Straight into it. We had some good robots this week, mostly good robots. My favourites were PP3D and Eruption. And I must say that I think the Heap final should have been those two robots. Don't get me wrong, Apollo and Storm 2 are good robots, but I can't. They're boring. They are just sort of bland, black and white, literally black and white doorsteps, as the guy from Dan Tonke put in the last thing. No, I won't go that far. They were good robots, but they just don't really have character to me. That might just be me, but I look at them and I just think, I don't really want you to win or lose. You're just sort of there. Unlike Eruption and PP3D, which I almost instantly liked. I like the look of them. They're interesting. They're unique in the way they're built. And yet Apollo and Storm just, I don't think they are. Apollo is your generic flipper, black and white in colour, so doesn't really have any sort of charisma about it. Apart from the fact that it flips out as robots, I suppose that's a redeeming feature. Storm 2 hasn't really changed, and it's essentially Tornado, but instead of actually pushing robots around, it just sort of gets under and sits under them. So it's not as entertaining as Tornado was, and it's essentially a copy of Tornado, but 20 grand's worth. They did well. I still think PP3D had the most destructive weapon and the most unique. I mean, a spinning disc has been around for a long time, but I just got to check it's still recording. But it's so low to the ground, and I don't think anyone's done that before. So low to the ground that it actually gets onto the robot mostly and gets the wheels. The best part of the Heat, I think, was where it took out Apollo's wheel. You just saw it in the replay just go underneath the shell and just rip the wheel out from under it, or the tyre anyway. Of course, Apollo got revenge later by taking off PP3D's tyre, but I thought that was really a genius move. Of course, it needs perfecting because it just ended up destroying itself so much. It was so powerful. Eruption, great flipper, better than Apollo, I think. It got very unlucky. It obviously beat Apollo quite convincingly. And then against Storm 2, I thought that the decision was harsh, because Storm 2 did its usual tactic of just get under it and push it against a wall, or try to. And Eruption got some good flips in. And at the end, I'm convinced that Storm 2 is immobilised. Give it another 10 seconds, and the judges would have seen that as immobilisation. It wasn't moving at the end for about like the last 8-9 seconds. So I thought that was unfair. What was the other battle? Oh yeah, PP3D against Eruption. Both robots broke down at the same time after about a minute. So it was a bit of a letdown, but the robots are powerful. And yet again, we have robots breaking down because the link fell out. Which is... I'm convinced that the robots in this series break down more often than the robots from Series 1 and 2, which is really saying something about these robots. I mean, they're all constantly breaking down, and it's ridiculous. The biggest thing I have about this episode, though, the thing I found out, the thing I realised, the thing that's bugged me now, that's self-righting mechanisms have been a thing since Series 2, since Cassius flung itself over. And even before that, in other competitions, there were self-righting mechanisms. And after all these years, why do they not have the capability of turning themselves back over? They're supposed to be the formidable house robots. And yet, after all these years, after how essential it's become, and how many times they've been flipped over, the house robots don't have self-righting mechanisms. Now, come on. It's about time. But that was entertaining, the flipping of the house robots. But they just seem so defenceless in that situation, and it's worrying. As for the other stuff, Can Opener and Sweeney Todd. Can Opener, the link fell out. It wasn't too convincing. Sweeney Todd was it had a good little feature. It could move around in any direction, but it was slow, and it was 45 kilograms. I thought Chimera was bad. And then this thing comes in 45 kilos. You think, no, you're done. No point in going in. You might as well put a feather on the floor. And well, obviously that one went out. And then Sabretooth couldn't self-right, another example of a robot breaking, even before it got in the arena this time. And Terra Turtle, very much like Nuts. It was Nuts, and it had a little cluster bot. I didn't have two. And it definitely didn't see as much action as Nuts, so it didn't have that time to really prove itself. It was like Nuts, but it didn't have the same impact as Nuts did on me. Good episode, some really good robots. Bit let down by the fact that the two robots that I found rather dull got to the Heat final. But that's my opinion. I'm sure there are a lot of people that disagree. I just think they're just really generic and really bland in colour at the same time. And, don't really stand out. But Apollo's through to the Heat grand final. Congratulations. And I'll say it again, PP3D and Eruption, fantastic robots. I really enjoyed them. Those robots are the ones that made the episode for me. One more heat to go before the grand final. I must say as well, Banter Wars is coming along well. I've done a lot of the live action stuff. If you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be much appreciated. I might even make a cup of tea to celebrate if you do subscribe to my channel and leave a like and a comment. And share the video with everyone you know. This has been A Heap of Games. I'm speaking. Look forward to next week's episode. Ta-ra, toodle, pip, toodaloo, and cheer. See you later.